What's up, everybody? It's J&J with Justin and Jordan. Before we even start, acknowledge the Yankees' 3-game winning streak against the worst team in baseball. Y'all know Mikey Locks. I don't gotta introduce him. New challenger on the floor. He called me out before the episode that I wasn't here. He's called me out in the group chat. What this is today, Justin, is what?
This is a debate episode.
Debate episode.
It's going to be fun.
And not only that, neither me nor Mikey knows what the topics are. Justin came up with all the topics, no help. He didn't ask me or Mikey Locks for any ideas. We don't know what we're diving into, but it's just straight debate topics. Is there any rules, Justin? No rules, no holds barred. What's up? Talk to me.
So what we're going to do, I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to let you guys think about it for a little bit. And then I don't know if you guys want to do rock, paper, scissors, who goes first, or however you guys want to determine that. But whoever goes, I'm going to put a timer on. I'm going to give you guys, how much time you think is valid? 2 minutes each?
Whatever.
I'll say 2 minutes for each person. The other person gets to think about the rebuttal and think and get their stats together. Then the other person will go. And then after each person goes and gives their argument, then I'll do a 1 minute rebuttal for each person.
Got you. So 2 minutes, basically. No help, no fact checking.
Yeah.
After everyone gets their first 2 minutes to rebut, we get to look up the stats real quick, blah, 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 prove what's true, what's not, and do a rebuttal, basically.
Yeah.
All right, perfectly fine. I'm good to go, man.
Okay. Who wants to go first for this first question?
I'll let Mikey go first. He's the guest. It's all about respect. You know how it goes.
Respect. So my first question, which championship run was more impressive? The Nuggets this year or the Warriors last year?
That's super easy. It's the Nuggets. Wait, no. More impressive is not the Nuggets. My fault. Not the Nuggets. It's the Warriors. So Warriors run. There was more. I would say there was more cachet with those teams last year that they ran through. The Nuggets this year, I feel like the Nuggets this year were a great team, that great storyline, everything like that. But just more impressive team. You have the best shooter of all time in Steph Curry. Clay is not even the second guy on that team last year. It was probably Wiggins and Draymond Green. But Clay coming back obviously did help. Maybe he's not as good defensively as he was, but me personally, I still think he attributed a lot to the team. I know this guy over here, he probably is going to say a lot bad about Clay, but it's all right. Yeah, I think the Warriors definitely had the better impressive run, for sure.
You done? You still got 40 seconds.
Who did they even beat?
They beat the Nuggets. They beat the Grizz. The Warriors?
The Warriors.
Nuggets, Grizzlies, Mavs, and the Celtics.
Yeah.
Nuggets, Grizzlies.
In that order.
That was the run.
Yeah, that's a good run, and especially the Grizzlies last year. Even without Ja in the lineup, they had a great record. I definitely had to give it to the Warriors for sure. But what you think?
So here's where I'm going to have to strongly disagree. It's got to be the Nuggets. So here's where I'm going to start with the Nuggets. A lot of people want to talk about the Nuggets in the sense that, look at the seeding. The seeding does not tell the whole story. People say they beat an 8 seed, a 7 seed, and then another 8 seed in the finals. It's not about seeding. We've seen in the NBA right now, seeding does not matter. This man first went through, who did the Nuggets go through first? The 8 seed was?
Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves. Not that impressive. Common 8 seed, not that good. Go against Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, who together were putting up like 70-point games, 80-point games, just them two. Two of the best scorers in the NBA. Kevin Durant, one of the best scorers of all time. They gave Jokic a huge fight. One of the favorites going into the postseason because of the trio that was CP3, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. I know how it looks now. In hindsight, it didn't work out too well, but that team going into the postseason was, of course, one of the favorites, even as a 4 seed. Then you move on, you go against the Lakers. The Lakers were a 7 seed, that's true. Guess what? You're playing against LeBron James, who was motivated to fight for ring number 5. AD, who was playing some of the best postseason big man defense of all time that I've seen. Then you had the supporting cast of Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, D'Lo having some decent games. This was a squad right here. This was a squad that after the first round of the Lakers taking out the Grizzlies, we thought they could go on and win it all, right?
Yes, sir.
Then we go to the finals. The finals where you had Jimmy Butler and Bam slaughter the East in a way that no one saw that they could do. And what did the Nuggets do? They made quick work of the Heat. Not because the team wasn't good, but they neutralized them. They killed the magic that they had. They did what the Celtics couldn't do. They did what the Bucks couldn't do. They did what, unfortunately, the Knicks couldn't do. But they played good teams. The narrative about it being seeding, they played a bunch of low-seed teams, does not matter when you see who is really on these teams.
Time. So, Mike,
What's up?
you got your 1 minute rebuttal right now. How do you want to respond to Jordan? I'm going to start that timer right now.
All right. So I hear him on that. I actually like that argument. That but this is the thing about that Lakers team. Like they really were put together at the trade deadline, so they didn't really have a lot of time to work together. Most of the teams that the Warriors went through, they've had some time together. You know what I mean? And I feel like that works out a lot when it comes to getting into playoff basketball. Chemistry is a big, big thing. We've seen it this year with the Heat. We've seen it this year with the Nuggets. Then they won the championship. Like chemistry is big. And personally, I feel like when it's all said and done, that Warriors team is going to be held to a higher regard than this Nuggets team.
So I guess for my rebuttal, I don't think I have to big up the Nuggets competition as I just did.
Yeah.
I would prefer to tear down the Warriors competition. You had the Nuggets, who were the champions this year. The Nuggets were hobbled. They did not have Jamal Murray. Yes, they still had Jokic, but they did not have Jamal Murray. We see what a big difference playoff Jamal Murray makes to a team. Jamal Murray on that team, with all due respect, in my opinion, it's all hearsay and what if, they kill the Warriors. Jamal Murray and Jokic together would kill the Warriors. Then, you play the Mavs. The Mavs, yes, they had Luka Doncic. Brunson was playing up his game, doing what he was doing all right. But that's not really an elite team right there. That's not an elite team. It's a heliocentric offense. You shut down one guy, the whole thing's done. I would say the only elite team that the Warriors played was in the finals against the Celtics. Meanwhile, the Nuggets played the Lakers and the Suns, who were both elite, and the Heat, that were a very, very damn good team. But, I think, like I said, people want to tear it down because of the seeding. But when you look at the teams against the teams that the Warriors face, the Nuggets face stronger competition, easily.
It's crazy. Like, the Celtics, I thought they were going to actually be better this year, because they had another year together. But that's...
Yeah, definitely.
That's just how it goes, man. That's how the cookie crumbles sometime. And to address the continuity, yeah, I understand. Like the Lakers, they were built at the deadline, but they still had that magic, bro, to go all the way to the conference finals. You said the Warriors do have the continuity. The Lakers, with not that much continuity, crushed the Warriors.
Yeah.
So I don't think continuity matters too much. It does have an effect, but not to the extent of it does when it comes to guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are generational.
Facts.
Oh, yeah. Definitely some good points.
I feel like you could go either way with that one,
Yeah. That's why I feel like it'll make for good conversation.
That was definitely a good comment.
Yeah. This one I feel like might be more opinion based because I just want to save like the bigger ones, the bigger debate ones for a little bit later. But
I got you.
This next one, I guess Jordan could go first for this one. Who was the most disappointing super team
of all time?
Let's go last 10 years.
Last 10 years.
So from now, since 2013.
I think that's easy.
I think so too.
I think it's easily the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, super disappointing. We're talking about 3 of the best scorers of the last decade all being put together and doing jack shit. Facts. Jack shit, no conference final. Losing the second round in 7 games, I understand Kyrie's down, whatever. Harden was hurt. But you come back without Harden, of course, is all the drama. But you come back and you get swept. You were the only team swept, if I'm not mistaken. The only team swept in the whole playoffs.
Yeah.
By the Boston Celtics, who went to the finals. You know, it was super disappointing. 3 Hall of Famers. All in their prime, by the way. Because in comparison to the Lakers of last year, not this past season, the one before, Westbrook was already on a decline. We've seen it. But together, this Nets team, we're talking about guys who were, all 3 of them were still averaging like 24 points per game. To have 3 guys averaging 24, 25 points per game, it's magic. It's magical, but it didn't work out. It was a big failure because you didn't have the role players. In my opinion, you should have just had KD, Kyrie, and the role players. Should have had Dinwiddie, should have had Jarrett Allen, should have had all those guys, Karis LeVert. That would have been a much better team than Kevin Durant star chasing consistently every single time. And I think we're seeing a complete recap with that with the Suns that are going to be jumping into the season just in a couple of months. I think it's going to be the same failure, whether it's because a star is disgruntled or you don't have the supporting cast. It's not going to work out. I think this is the same Nets story, copied and pasted.
All right, you still got 30 seconds left. Do you want to?
No, I'm good on that. Yeah.
All right, Mikey.
Yeah, I agree with this guy wholeheartedly. The Nets are by far the most disappointing. I mean, when you get to it, yeah, if KD has his foot behind the line in that game, we might be talking about another thing over here. But you know, he doesn't. He had his foot on the line, and that's it. They didn't win the chip. And to keep it short and simple, man, like you had 3 of the biggest stars, like top 10. They were all top 10 in that time period, and you don't get a chip. That is just
conference final.
Not even a conference final. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I definitely am 100% backing up Jordan on everything he said, for sure.
How about this? Just I'll throw in a quick disagreement, just for the fuck of it. Another disappointing super team. The 2017, 18, 19 Thunder. We're talking Russell Westbrook.
Yes, sir.
Your guys' boy, Paul George.
Is that a super team?
Carmelo Anthony. When Carmelo went there, you got to remember, Carmelo was coming off a like 23 point per game season. And then they made him a third option.
Yeah.
I was disappointed because they didn't get out the fucking first round. Let's not forget that.
I guess
they
the
never
first
got out
year
the
you
first
could say
round.
it, but the second year, I don't think there was a super
They
team.
didn't get out
What
the
was that,
first round,
2018,
though.
2019?
17, 18. Because I don't think Melo was there 18, 19.
Yeah,
correct?
he wasn't. He was on the
17,
Rockets.
18, let's just say 17, 18, Thunder specifically. Disappointing that you can't even get out the first round. Very, very disappointing because it was against a rookie Donovan Mitchell. Gobert, who gets cooked by every other playoff team except that Thunder team. And Joe Ingles was cooking Paul George. So there was always that. That was super disappointing. Everyone wanted to hype it up. I hyped it up. Trust me, I hyped it up. I said these guys are going to take down the Warriors with Kevin Durant. These niggas ain't do shit, bro. Didn't even get out the first round, never saw the Warriors. So, yeah, the only chance that they were going to get at seeing the Warriors was if they were an 8 seed, 7 seed, but they're always consistently a 4 or 5 seed, and they didn't do anything with it.
Facts.
Nah, yeah, that team was disappointing as fuck. Is it a hot take to say that the Pelicans with AD and Cousins was better than that team?
Well, Cousins went down. He didn't even play playoff minutes. But
Yeah, but that team was fucking disgusting.
I would take AD and Drew in like 2019 over the Thunder in 2019.
That team was fucking dirty.
Because you got to remember, Drew Holiday and AD shut down. Damian Lillard shut down, CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum did play better than Dame, but they both got shut down. And AD was feasting. Drew Holiday was just feasting, bro.
Okay.
I would easily take that team.
Well, since you guys both agreed for the super team one, I'm going to have one that I know you guys will probably disagree with. So this one, since we already talked about Paul George, we might as well get into it right now. So this question is, where does Paul George rank amongst small forwards from the 2010s? So from 2010 to 2019. I mean, you could add whatever, but we're just going to go like the 2010 small forwards because 2020s we're in the middle of it right now, so we can't rank them. So just from 2010 to 2019.
Giannis is a power forward, correct? Because in the 2010s, he was kind of playing the 3.
Yeah, but
I would
wouldn't-
still
wouldn't put
consider
that.
Giannis a power forward.
Yeah, I
Okay.
wouldn't
Yeah,
put
because
Fair
if
enough.
you're going to take in like his 2 MVP seasons or his 1 in that time, he was a power forward.
All right, I'll let Mikey go first.
So All right, you ready? 2 minutes starts now.
I mean, top. He's definitely top. He's definitely in the top 5. In 2010s, I guess it gotta go LeBron. Obviously, number 1. Number 2, we gotta go.
I'm gonna throw you some names: LeBron, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard.
But
Carmelo
I wouldn't put
Anthony.
Kevin Durant as.
Huh? You
Kawhi
wouldn't
Leonard's
put Kevin
number
Durant?
2. Kawhi Leonard's number 2.
Damn.
I would put Durant as a power forward. No.
No, I think Durant's power forward years has been recently. So like as the Warriors, he was playing the 3. So I'll count
I would
KD as
still
a
count
three.
KD.
alright, so then-
Because you gotta
yeah,
remember
you gotta put-
2010 to
So-
2019.
Yeah.
So then you put okay, I'll put KD in there too. Yeah, I'll put him like 5.
Still got Melo in there. You got the dog days of Paul Pierce still there.
Paul Pierce?
He was still from 2010 to 2014. He was still pretty solid.
He was good.
He was on
Yeah.
the Nets in 2011,
Not 2013, 14.
2013, yeah.
2013,
But from
14.
10 to 13, he was still on Boston.
Yeah,
was
they
on time.
and they won in
They went to the finals in 10. They went to the ECF in 12, and they won in 08. So that was, but he was still pretty good like in the early 2010s.
yeah, I put Paul George probably either 5 or 6. 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
5 or 6, yeah. Listen, like Paul George, he's pretty good. He's pretty good at defense. All right, like prime Paul George is pretty good at defense. Can we say that? Can we agree on that?
Depending on the circumstances, regular season, sure.
All right,
Regular season, sure. Playoffs, different answer.
all right. So
Time.
all right,
You got time. You got to remember what you're gonna say for that rebuttal.
I
2
got you.
minutes
And
for
you
Jordan.
could fact check too.
Yeah, you
but
can
during
fact check
that
now
time,
if you want to.
Yeah, I got you.
I
So,
think I'm good to go. I
you're
think I had a couple thoughts.
2 minutes starts now.
So even though Paul George, just me thinking before I even go to the fact check, I think he is probably like number 5. But when it comes to tiers, he's not in the same tier as KD, LeBron, Kawhi. They're in their own tier.
Yeah, for
and I
sure.
would say Melo is in his own tier, separate from Paul George. Carmelo Anthony, of course, from 2010 to about 2016, top 10 scorer in the league, sometimes top 5, top 3 MVP vote getter, which is the same thing that Paul George also accomplished. But we also got to remember, even though Melo only had 6 elite years in the 2010s, Paul George also only had about 6 years because he only was popping from the 2012-13 season to, of course, the end of the decade. So the other guys we don't have to really discuss, but when it comes to Melo versus Paul George, which I think might be the one that gets the most flack, is Melo, of course, was a top 5 player in the early 2010s. We're talking about 26 points per game and more every single season. Talking about a guy who took the Knicks to the playoffs when people weren't expecting it to take them to the playoffs. We're talking about one of the best rebounders at his position. We're talking about a guy who was guarding 3s and 4s. We're talking about a guy who was one of the most clutch players in the NBA. We're just seeing a lot of things with Melo back then that a lot of people forget, you know? And Paul George, I get on him a lot. When it comes to small forwards, maybe I'm missing somebody. I would love to push him out the top 5 if I could fact check and find somebody. But for the moment, I would say he's number 5. But when it comes to tiers, he's not even on fucking Melo's level. Respectfully, he's never been on Melo's
Especially
level.
offensively.
Offensively.
Especially offensively.
If you want to say defense is what pushes him over the edge, I don't care. But when it comes to Melo's offense blows Paul George's offense out the water, and his offense enough. We're talking about all-time offense right here, all-time great scoring right here. That blows PG's combination of offense and defense out the water. I'll call my own time.
All right, I'll disagree with him on that. I love Melo personally as a player. Obviously, I'm a Knicks fan. You see the gear, you know. But personally, I hold a big weight on defense, and I know that Paul George may not be as well gifted offensively, but I guarantee you he's more efficient than Melo. Granted, though, Melo definitely had to, put up his shots because he was on the Knicks and he was the main scoring option. So, but that's how I feel about Paul George. Top 5, definitely.
Top 5. But Jordan, your rebuttal?
So yeah, after fact checking, definitely gotta be top 5. His competition was Rudy Gay, Luol Deng, both really good players. Chris Middleton, who, you know, he's had great playoff series, but his best playoff moments came in the 2020s.
He's more clutch. He's more clutch.
Oh, 100% he's more clutch.
He's more clutch.
Yeah.
I don't even
I
think
would
that's a
say-
debate. Chris
Yeah.
Middleton, and you know, like this is being dead ass because a lot of people are gonna think I'm joking. This is dead ass. And in Game 7, open 3 or contested 3, whatever shot it is, whoever I want to give the ball to in the finals, please give me Chris Middleton because I know Paul George is gonna fumble. When have we ever seen Paul George pull through in a clutch moment in the playoffs? You want to talk about regular season? Sure. What about the playoffs where Chris Middleton done it numerous times? Done it against the best teams in the East, such as the Celtics. Dropped a 40 ball against the Suns, you know, in the finals. Paul George has never done anything close to that in his playoff career. But Paul George, top 5, small forward, sure. Barely beating out Iguodala in my opinion. But, you know,
Time.
that's how it goes.
I seen the fucking passion come into your eyes as soon as Paul George was mentioned.
I think, you know what's a really good conversation was Paul George top 10 in the 2010s. And that,
In the 2010s?
I don't think so. I don't think he's a top 10 player of the 2010s. Respectfully. Not top 10. I can name 10 guys better than Paul George from the last decade.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about from 2010 to 2019?
There's 10 players better than Paul
Absolutely.
You want to name them?
Absolutely.
George. LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Jokic didn't really have that many prime years.
Steph Curry.
Yeah, Steph Curry, of course.
Kyrie.
I would take Kyrie Irving over Paul George.
Yeah.
I give Kyrie a lot of flack as being overrated. I would take Kyrie Irving. Who else? I'm just trying to think names off the top of my head. DeMarcus Cousins, AD. DeMarcus Cousins, AD.
That's
Russell
what-
Westbrook. I didn't say Westbrook yet. And I still got one more spot.
Draymond?
No, not Draymond.
No,
I was just throwing names out there.
Honestly, y'all not gonna fuck with me, but I'll take John Wall in that decade over Paul George.
no shot, dude.
No, I'm being serious. I'm
you're being serious?
And I might be missing names, but from first name that came to head, John Wall.
That's not.
Why are we laughing?
That's not
Nah,
real.
because I was not expecting
No,
John.
but John Wall was better than Paul George in that decade. Was he
I
not?
would have rather you said Giannis.
Giannis.
Giannis,
Even for
definitely.
the last 2 years.
Giannis had the last 4 years of the
God,
decade were
dog.
great, but I would take John Wall over Paul George in the 2010s.
No,
We're talking about the best defensive point guard and one of the best offensive point guards in the NBA. I think John Wall is better than Kyrie, of course. We've had this discussion numerous times. I think John Wall is higher than Kyrie, and if I got Kyrie in there, I got to have John Wall in there. Talking about a 23 and 11 assist guy with elite defense at the point guard position, carrying his team to playoffs before Bradley Beal was Bradley Beal. I don't think that's a hot take at all. John Wall was elite. And at this point, he's underrated.
I did not expect to get John Wall. That shit came out of... Yo, I thought he was about to be like, and last, Giannis.
Giannis, sure.
Yeah.
for sure.
I'll give you Giannis.
say that. Yeah.
I'm not gonna name Kobe because Kobe only had like 3 good
Yeah, he had
years.
3 good years.
But I wouldn't name D Wade. But John Wall has been elite in that decade. Let's give John Wall his respect. Let's not laugh.
Nah, I
There's a
think John Wall's a
23 and 11
great.
assist
Oh, yeah,
guy.
John
player.
Wall's great.
He was a great player. I just-
But not better than Paul George.
I don't
At his-
think he's
at
better than
prime,
Paul
Peak for
George.
peak. Peak for peak. 23 points, 11 assists. The best defensive guard in the NBA. Clutch too. Let's not forget clutch. I don't think it's a hot take at all.
You know what? He is more clutch than Paul. I'll say that.
My
He's
only thing
definitely-
is, I feel like John Wall, his peak was shorter than Paul George's.
But his peak was incredible.
It was.
His peak was incredible. That 2012, 13 to let's say 17, 18, 17, 18,
18,
he was incredible.
I think PG had like a good 5-6 year run.
I wouldn't even say 17, 18. I'll say from like 2013 to like 2016, 17.
Maybe
16, 17 season
Yeah.
with that run
Because
against the
17,
Celtics and all
18
that.
was the season he came in out of shape and shit.
And then he got hurt right after,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But John Wall, if you give him those last couple of years at that same peak, it would be easy. It would be easily clears Paul George, but with what happened to him, I would say it's close, but I'm taking John Wall.
quick question: James Harden or Paul George?
James Harden.
James Harden
It's not even
with
a-
one hand.
That's not
Yes,
even
sir.
a question.
Yes,
James
sir.
Harden with one arm. James Harden with his right arm too. Let's say he's
Deadass.
missing his left arm. I'm taking him over Paul George.
Nah, I agree.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
I thought
I
you
agree.
were gonna ask like Nets Harden versus OKC Paul George.
No. I agree. I
It's
agree. I
Harden.
agree. I just wanted to see what you say.
All right, so this question is gonna be a good one. So who just went first? Mikey just went
I
first.
think I went
Mikey
first.
just went first.
All right, so this question is gonna spark a lot of shit. Well, here goes. Is Kobe Bryant a top 10 player of all time? I'm gonna let Jordan go first. Start now.
No. Kobe Bryant, unfortunately. Now, the thing is, a lot of people are going to say this is disrespectful. I think, in my opinion, Kobe's the most overrated athlete of all time, not even just basketball player. And not even because he's not good. Kobe is great. One of the best players I've ever seen. But guess what? Easily there's 10 players better than him currently all time. And not only that, I think this whole thing where we put him on this pedestal with LeBron and Jordan when there's 7, 8 guys better than him, I think it's crazy. I think it comes from Laker media and a lot of people being super hyped up on Kobe. Now, the 10 guys better than Kobe, it would be like, LeBron, Mike, Kareem, Larry Bird, Magic, Shaq, Hakeem, Tim Duncan, Bill Russell, and Wilt Chamberlain. I don't think there's anything wrong with that list. And then Kobe at 11 or 12, I don't think that's a big deal, because he's still fighting off the likes of Stephen Curry, Dr. J, Kevin Durant. Like, you have all those guys in the same little realm from like 11 to like 14. But yeah, Kobe doesn't make my top 10 list for a couple of reasons. Number one, he won most of his rings as a sidekick to another top 10 guy. That shit doesn't fly with me. Personally, that shit doesn't fly with me. You have 2 finals MVPs out of 5 because Shaq was, backpacking. And when I say backpacking, it wasn't that Kobe was averaging 10 points. I'm talking about Shaq averaging 35 and 17 in the finals. When Kobe was putting up a respectful 25, but you're getting outscored by 12 points per game, basically, by your teammate who's another top 10 guy of all time, right? Then you go on to win 2 other rings. But when you win those 2 rings, you needed, Paul Gasol to come in. He wasn't doing anything by himself. You needed your own group of guys. I was also good. You needed yourself a good cast. And Kobe Bryant, yes, he has the loyalty factor, but we forget this guy was about to leave to go to the Bulls.
Yeah.
in the middle of the decade.
Everybody forget
time.
that. Everybody forgets that.
Everybody forgets that.
All right, that's time. That was a good argument. Mikey, your 2 minutes starts right now.
All right, so I actually wrote down my top 10, and guess who's not in it? Kobe Bryant. Okay,
You see, it's not a big deal.
I did not think y'all was going
so let me tell y'all who I got in my top 10. I got LeBron number 1, Jordan number 2, Kareem number 3. I got Stockton number 4. Stockton number 5. Duncan number 4. Duncan number 4. Shaq number 6. Shaq number 6.
Why is Stockton 5?
You listen.
What the
Listen.
fuck?
I know he didn't win no championship, but he's playing against the best player ever,
nigga's
second
probably
best player ever,
not even-
second best player ever. All right.
Bro, he's not even the 5th best white player.
And a lot of people are gonna be like, all right. A lot of people are gonna be like, yo, Karl Malone better than him, right? You guys think Karl Malone better than him?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
He won
yeah,
2
right?
MVPs.
All right. I personally think that man John Stockton is very underrated.
He is, but,
He is, but
he's
top
not
5
even the
all-
5th best white player of all time.
I got you. All right.
Continue though. I don't want to cut into your time.
All right. David Robinson number 7. Bill Russell number 8. Bill Russell number 8. Hold up. Yeah.
Where is Magic and Bird?
Magic's number 9, and Bird is number 11.
Wait, who the fuck was 10?
Number 10. Who's missing?
Hold on.
No Shaq. No Hakeem.
I put Shaq.
Where's Hakeem?
Shaq is number 6.
Where's Hakeem?
Hakeem's 10.
Oh my God.
Hakeem's 10. So, yeah, that's what I got. So basically, this is what I think. I think Kobe is probably number 13 on the list. Just personally, I think that Kobe could have been way better with facilitating. He was a great defender. Don't get me wrong, but I look a lot at analytics stuff. So me personally, I think win shares is a big statistic that people like put to the side, like don't think about it as much. I get it, you know, by the eye test, John Stockton definitely shouldn't be in the top 10, right? Right?
Of course not.
He shouldn't be in the top 10, right?
Accolades, eye test, whatever.
But I swear, I think the man just played the game fundamentally very well. He wasn't the most athletic, obviously. You know, I get where you're coming from, because everybody
He
that I
plays
say
the right way.
everybody that I say that to has always given me, you know, shit for it. But I think Stockton, low key, would have won chips if he was in an era where he could have won chips. But nobody's winning chips against that Bulls team, man. Nobody is, and that's just the truth. Like, even without Jordan, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, even without him. So, you know, and when the first year he came back, made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and
Last
lost.
time. All right. I'm going to ask you one question.
I don't even know if I could rebut this, bro. Because like I said, Stockton might be the 5th best white guy, but I don't know if he's the 5th best. He's probably like in my top 30, which is a good spot for him. But I've never heard anybody in my life say
I know.
top 10. Oh man,
that's one that I always get flack for, but it's all good.
I have a question for you. So you do you think this would be a better question right now? Because you guys both agreed on the Kobe's not top 10. I feel like this would be a better question. If you were to drop John Stockton on the 05 Phoenix Suns, or that period from 05 to 08, are they winning a chip?
Yeah, let's say the Suns.
Yeah,
swap out Steve Nash.
Yeah, swap out Steve Nash, put in John Stockton. Are the Phoenix Suns winning a chip?
Yo, honestly, do you guys think that Nash is better than Stockton?
100%.
I think so, yeah.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Nash won how many MVPs? Two straight?
Two
Back to back.
MVPs back
Two
to
straight,
back.
right?
Should have been 3.
Yeah. Me personally, I think if you put Stockton on that team, they make it to the finals and they lose.
Based on what? Steve Nash was a better shooter than John Stockton, and I would say that they're on the same tier of playmaking. You know, I would rank Steve Nash a little bit better of a playmaker, but we're talking about Steve Nash, bro. Where when Amari Stoudemire went down, this man upped his scoring production
I think
to
Steve
almost
Nash
19
peak.
points per game.
I think Steve Nash peak is better than
I think his career is better.
Stockton.
Yeah.
I think his career is better.
I
though.
think Steve Nash peak is better.
I think
For sure.
his career is better because when we talk about Steve Nash, especially in the playoffs, Steve Nash was capable of scoring. We've seen Steve Nash drop 48 in the playoffs, right? We've seen Steve Nash average like 25 to 28 points per game in the playoffs. It's like the man was playmaking, you know? I don't think we've seen John Stockton consistently in the playoffs average like 25 points per game. Maybe a light little 20 once in a while, but 25, never seen it. And this was especially in the 2000s where scoring was at its lowest, and you got Steve Nash scoring 48.
He's
That's
definitely
insane to me.
he's definitely a better defender though. You got to get
John
him
Stockton
that.
is
John
a better
Stockton
defender.
Yeah,
way
by
better
far,
defender.
by
Yeah.
far.
Way better.
But man, Steve Nash, John Stockton's not even a better point guard than Magic and Steve Nash and Isaiah Thomas. That's 3 guys I have over John Stockton right now easily.
Yeah.
And then you can make an argument Jay Kidd or John Stockton. It could go either which way, but besides that, man, like John Stockton, top 5, top 10, top 15, top 20 all time.
That's fucking
and to
wild.
do it because of win shares or value over replacement level. Like, this isn't baseball with WAR, you know? WAR is a
I
more
got you.
perfect model than win shares and VORP. So that's why
I just-
equate
I-
it. But jeez, bro, John Stockton.
Listen.
top 30.
Don't get me wrong. Not everything for me is win shares. Because if it was, then there would be a lot more people in this list. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have put Kevin Garnett in my top 10.
Oh my God, Kevin Garnett is way better than John
I would have put
Stockton.
Kevin Garnett in my top 10.
There was somebody
you know
else
what I
in
mean?
that 10 that
I would've
kind of
put-
threw me off too.
It was just John Stockton that threw me off. Oh, David Robinson.
Oh yeah, that one too.
That nigga's not even a top 3 center ever.
You don't think so?
He's not better than Wilt, Bill,
Kareem.
Shaq, Kareem, Hakeem.
I think I put Wilt in there.
Well, either way, those 5 guys are better than David Robinson. And then you could argue, like we said in the show one time, you could argue that Jokic at this point is better than him. It could go either which
Oh
way.
yeah.
Question: Who you think the best power forward of all time is?
Tell me.
Very
Tim
hard
Duncan.
question. Accolades, Timmy. Play style, eye test, Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett. I think Kevin Garnett on that Spurs team, maybe he doesn't win 5, but he wins minimum 3. Because he just sometimes didn't have the supporting cast.
You know who I'm going.
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Duncan by accolades. Yeah. Tim Duncan was
Duncan,
incredible. And by eye test, he was incredible. But Kevin Garnett, give him a decent supporting cast. He should have 3 rings by now. Unfortunately, only finished with 1.
I love that pivot to the John Stockton. Thank you, because we did not see that shit
That
coming.
was insane.
That was great, right? That was great. Good
I've
content.
never heard that shit in my life.
I
bro.
never heard that shit in
I've
my
never
life.
heard anyone say some shit like that in
That's
my life. I will never
crazy.
hear
So-
that. I will never hear that ever again. I swear to God, I will never hear John Stockton top 10 player of all time ever again for the rest of my life.
You
And you
won't.
had him
And
at
I
like
want it to 80.
You had him at like 6.
Yeah,
You
no,
won't.
at 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I put him back down to 5 real
was
quick.
like, what?
Nah,
Yo, I
nah.
almost choked on my water.
Yo,
Paul.
I've never heard shit
So
like that before.
I when I was writing it down, I was telling my girl, I was like, "Yo, this one's gonna get these guys going." Like John Stockton.
Jeez, man, that's just ridiculous.
That's just crazy. I did have another one for y'all. I think this one is gonna cause a disagreement, but this question is: should Klay Thompson have made the top 75 all-time
It's his
list?
turn. It's his turn.
I'll let Mikey go first. Your 2 minutes starts right now.
All right, so I had to look up the list again of top 75 to really like try and make this argument, and the argument can't be made, man. He really can't be on the top 75. And I was about to off the top of my head, because I remember we argued about this in the group chat about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, of course he should be in the top 75. Yeah. You know, he was a great defender in his prime, you know, great he's probably the second greatest shooter of all time behind number 1 Steph. And I mean, personally though, like, how can you put him above, you know, people that are in the 75 already? Like, let's look at the 75.
What
real
about, how
quick.
about this is a better discussion? What about the people who missed it? Do you think he deserves it more than those people? Because I remember you said that Klay Thompson's better than T-Mac, for example.
Yeah.
You said he should have made it over T-Mac, Vince, Dwight, Tony Parker, and Ginobili. You said he was better than all 5 of those guys. Do you still believe that?
I believe he's better than Ginobili, Parker. You know how I feel about T-Mac. T-Mac is so overrated to me, so I fucking automatically just put him to the fucking side. But personally, wait, what?
Dwight and Vince too.
Dwight and Vince. Yeah, Vince don't do it for me. Like I said, I love defense, man.
And Dwight, even with the recent
Dwight-
news of what's going on with him,
Dwight, what's going on with him?
let's just say it's AO conversation, but
Hey,
we'll
yo.
leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. So you think Klay's better than Dwight?
Peak? Hell no.
Overall, whatever.
But overall, man, no, not that either. No,
So Justin, pick any of the guys I named, and we'll go 1v1 with Klay Thompson.
no.
Tony Parker, Ginobili, T-Mac, Vince.
He's not better than Dwight.
Any of those guys.
Oh yeah, hell no.
He's not better than
Pick
Dwight.
any of those 4 guys. I'll argue any of them easily better than Klay Thompson. It's not even
Tony
close.
Parker.
Tony Parker. I'll start with Tony Parker right now. Tony Parker, as we forget, at his best was an MVP candidate. A lot of people like to forget that Tony Parker was literally an MVP candidate at his best, right? Klay Thompson, I would be shocked if he's gotten 1 MVP vote in his life.
No, he's never.
1.
Never.
And if he got one, it was probably for like 10th place in 2016 when they won the 73 games, right? But Tony Parker was a guy that when Tim Duncan was getting old, you were leaning on him more. That 2013 run, he would have won Finals MVP if they won the championship, right?
Yeah.
He was incredible from the first round to the finals. In the finals, he was cooking the Heat, absolutely cooking the Heat, right? He was the biggest reason why they beat the Cavs in 2007. He is one of the most underrated point guards of all time, in my opinion. It is a guy who
Most underrated.
consistently, one of the most, I would say one of the most, maybe not the most, one of the most underrated, because there's a guy who, you know, like we said, He's taken the Spurs team far without Tim Duncan being at his best. Talking about dragging let me not say dragging, but we talking about bringing a 35-year-old Tim Duncan deep into the playoffs.
It's time.
Consistently.
Yeah. Tony Parker. Yeah. Finals MVP in 07.
MVP candidate.
MVP candidate.
All
Gave the
NBA
Heat problems.
multiple times.
Yeah. That was
MVP
Tony
in
Parker's really
07.
slept on. I remember in high school, I was like, yo, he's top 10 point guard ever.
Yeah. I don't think that's crazy. It's possible.
Yo, niggas gave me shit for that too.
I don't know.
But
if
I
did.
had him at like 10 though.
I don't know if I did, but I think that's a fair comment.
For me, he was at like 10.
Listen, you could say all you want like about how, you know, Clay takes games off because you're right. Like when you said that in the group chat, I was like, okay, you know, there's times where Clay really don't put up points. Like he don't put up points every single game, but when he was in his prime, you could rely on him to be a lockdown defender and pick and get the best guard or perimeter player on their team. You know what I mean? And that to me is something that it holds a lot of value, holds a lot of weight, especially in a league where defense is basically frowned upon. So, you know, that's just my opinion.
So I don't even have to up Tony Parker more than I already did. The only argument people make for Clay is championships. He got 4. Guess what? Tony Parker got 4 too, all right? He's got 4 championships as well. With a finals MVP, which Klay Thompson's never even gotten close to getting. Klay Thompson's like the 4th guy in the band, right? He's the guy playing. When Kevin Durant was on the Warriors, Klay Thompson was the motherfucker playing the bass. That's what he was doing, right? Tony Parker was the rock star, bro. He was in the front at the times when, at post 2007, he was at the front of the Spurs. So I don't even have to up Tony Parker. I could tear down Klay Thompson. Some of the most overrated defense that I've heard. The man never stopped Kyrie. He never slowed down Kyrie. Never slowed down Dame. Never slowed down any of these guys. When we talk about Klay Thompson as a primary guard defender for the Warriors, I think to myself, like, where's it at? You're not slowing down these guys. Where's it at? You're not doing shit, you know? One all defensive team, maybe, Justin. I'll fact check it later, but I think he has like 1 all defensive team selection in like 2017. There's a guy who can't create his own shot like Tony Parker can. Cannot play make like Tony Parker can. Cannot lead a team like Tony Parker can. You throw Klay Thompson on any other team, what is he doing besides being a role player? Because what I think, in my opinion, he's just a high-value role player and an overrated role player that made the All-Star game. Because role players can make the All-Star game, right? They can make the All-Star game. But guess what? That's all he'll ever be, a role player, because like you said, I'm going to go over time. Because like he said in the group chat, he said that you and Kevin both said that if Klay Thompson was drafted by the Grizzlies back in 2011, where they were dead last in three-pointers, they would see his potential as a three-point shooter and build the offense around him. That shit would never happen. No team would ever, even peak 2016 Klay, you throw him on the Pacers, you throw him on the Magic, you throw him on the Hornets, whatever. They're not going to be successful if that team is built around Klay Thompson scoring, because you got to give him the ball. You can't give Klay the ball and say, hey, go make a shot for me, go make a play for yourself. Because when we talk about the 60 points on like 5 dribbles, all right, you had to be given the ball. Incredible off-ball movement or not. But when you're the primary guy and the number 1 scorer on your team, Klay Thompson is the number 1 guy, you're looking at a 20 to 25 win team. That's a fucking lottery team right there.
I mean, yeah, they would probably be a lottery team, but he'd definitely get his points. I'm telling you right now, he'd definitely get his points if he was on that team. And, you know, they wouldn't build an offense around him right away, but when they see him in practice, when they see his energy, because let's face it, when he was really good in this league, he actually was one of the most energetic defenders out there. So you feed off that energy, and definitely they would eventually build an offense around him. I'm not saying right away, but definitely.
But the thing is, this isn't like 2K though, where you know guys overall, even if it takes like his potential, even if it takes a while, because at the end of the day, he goes anywhere else. He never gets that coaching from Steve Kerr. He never has these playbooks ran around with a bunch of elevator door screens, a bunch of pin down screens for him moving off ball a lot. Because we got to remember, not the whole league was doing that. The only guys doing that really was the Warriors, of course, the Rockets, and the Knicks in like 2013, right? Only offenses doing that shit consistently.
Now everybody's doing this. Copycat league.
Everybody's doing it. but he needed to be on the Warriors with Steve Kerr's playbook for everybody to copy them. If he's not there, if he goes to the Grizzlies, he gets drafted by the Celtics even, he gets drafted by anywhere else besides the Warriors and the Rockets, he's not thriving. He would not thrive. We would see him as a decent role player. We would see him as, all right, let's get this guy as our third guy to be a contender, have him make a couple threes, average like 17 points per game. At best, maxing out his potential. But he would never be an all-star outside of the Warriors. If he got drafted by anyone else, if he got traded back in 2016, you trade him anywhere, he would not be an all-star anywhere else. I promise you that. I promise.
Question: last year's run. I feel like we'll agree on this.
Overrated as fuck. He was.
Last year's run was he probably like the fourth best player on the team?
Curry, Wiggins, Dre, and Poole were all better than Klay Thompson. He's
last
the
year.
Best
Kevon
guy.
Looney too.
Kevon Looney. Sorry, let's not forget Kevon Looney. And Draymond Green was having a down postseason too. Remember, even his mom was cooking him on Twitter, saying to pick that shit up.
You know what?
But Klay Thompson was.
He's probably the
he
sixth
didn't do
best.
shit.
Yeah, he didn't do
Klay
shit.
didn't do shit. And
Yeah.
with Kevin Durant, he was the fourth best player. In the 2016 finals, him and Steph underperformed, and Draymond would have gotten the Finals MVP before Klay Thompson even got half a vote.
Even the 2015 finals, he wasn't that.
He wasn't on shit. He's never done shit. This is why I say Game 6 Klay, playoff Klay, clutch Klay is overrated as fuck, my nigga. Because he had one Game 6 against the Thunder, and what was his other Game 6? He had like 2 Game 6s ever. Where, like I said earlier in the podcast, where's Game 6 Klay against the Kings? And where's playoff Klay against the Lakers? Where was playoff Klay last year? When have we seen playoff Klay?
He had like only like 1 30-point game this playoff.
Overrated as fuck.
Yeah.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Overrated. That's why when we talk about even if they did an NBA 80 list, he's not making it, because then you have guys like Luka coming in. I think he'll barely make the 100 list. Honestly.
Yeah,
He'll
yeah.
make it because of rings. But realistically speaking, eye test, accolades, whatever, because you're gonna have guys like Luka
Jokic.
on that list, Jokic on that list, and then all these, you're gonna have Tatum on that list, Booker. Klay Thompson will not touch the NBA 100 list.
I just feel like he's not overrated though now. Like, I feel like people know what he is now. He's not. He's a shell of what he used to be.
I think all time he's a role player though.
All time.
Yeah,
All time
he's
role player.
he's a high end role player.
Yeah, but nothing more. He would never be an all-star by himself.
Yeah.
That's my only point whenever I say Klay's overrated, such as when you and Kevin and Dave say like, nah, he's an all-star, whatever. He's made like 1 or 2 all NBAs. And that's because of what? Because of the Warriors system. We're seeing Wiggins and Poole, Poole previously perform great under that system. I think a lot of guys could take Klay's spot. It's like I said in the group chat, I said Desmond Bane could take Klay Thompson's spot. You take Desmond Bane now, put him in that 15 and 16 Warriors team, he's going to thrive just as much, maybe a little bit less.
I just want to add one thing. Klay only made 1 defensive team.
That's what I said. 2017, right?
Nah, 2018-19,
Okay.
second team. That was the only defensive team
He's
he's ever made.
overrated on defense, bro.
So high end role players today. Who do you got?
I guess Desmond Bane counts.
Yeah.
Desmond Bane counts at this point.
I would have.
Chris Middleton. I love Chris Middleton too.
I would say
I up Chris Middleton a lot. He's a high end role player.
I would
Drew
say
Holiday.
Draymond's high end role player.
Draymond at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, 2017, one of the best defenders in the league, but now he's a role player.
But even at his peak, I would still say he's a high end.
He was a pretty valuable piece, bro.
No,
DPOY.
but being a role player is not a bad thing though.
I understand, but like DPOY type shit, like Rudy Gobert, for example, at his peak, I don't think he's a role player, right? Because when you're the best on defense, in my opinion, you're as valuable as the best on offense, and those are both stars. The best defender and the best offensive player, they could both be stars. Right?
I think Draymond probably in the top 10 when it comes to best defenders of all time, for sure.
Ooh, maybe.
For sure.
Maybe.
I
would have to think about it, sit down and write that list down for a couple of minutes, but maybe. But going back to the role player shit, Klay Thompson, he's in his whole career, he's been a role player. You would never, as a smart GM, sign Klay Thompson to be your number 1 guy.
Yeah. Nah, yeah.
I would never. I would never have Klay Thompson take the ball and say, make a play, get a bucket for yourself.
I agree with you.
That would be disgusting
I
to
agree
watch.
with you. You cannot have him as the number one. Like, he has to be a role player for sure in a championship squad.
The T-Mac one bothered me too, by the way, because T-Mac, he was a good defender, great playmaker.
I think that one bothered you the most.
Maybe.
I think it bothered you the most.
Because
Yeah.
you said he has championships, but you know what? T-Mac, at his peak, you could argue he was the best player in the NBA. I don't think anyone...
I just hated his shot, man.
I don't think anyone in Klay Thompson's peak said Klay was a top 10 player. Even in 2016, no one's saying Klay's top 10.
Nobody said that. Nah.
Nobody. Maybe 15, top 15. And that's pushing it. But Tracy McGrady, this is 32 points per game at his prime. Could have won MVP. He was him and Kobe and Tim Duncan, Garnett, and Steve Nash. They're all in the same stratosphere. Unfortunately, T-Mac, I would say, was a playoff choker. He never got out the first round. But besides that, he was the number one guy. At least he was making it to the playoffs, right? Klay Thompson
he's like
never...
he's like the Paul George of our generation.
I guess you could say that. But I would have him higher than Paul George all time.
I would take T-Mac over Paul George.
I think so too.
I would take T-Mac over Paul George, but that's my thing. When I evaluate players, it's how you are as the first guy, right? How good could you be as the first option? It's why earlier, like I said, Kobe is in top 10 because he won a majority of his championships as the number 2 guy, not the number 1. You want to say 1A, 1B, I don't care. Shaq was torching teams for minimum 33 points per game. And when Kobe took the keys in 2004, look what happened. They crumbled in 5 games to the Pistons, right? But that's why I evaluate the players these type of ways. Klay Thompson can never be a number 1 option in his life and be successful. 20-win team max, right? 20-win team max. I would never want to see Klay Thompson bring the ball up, ever. Because he's going to average 7 turnovers a game if he's bringing the ball up. If he's trying to play and make. If he's trying to make his own shot, you know? He can't do that. So that's why I evaluate Tony Parker better than him. Dwight, Vince, T-Mac. Ginobili was never the first option, but guess what? As a role player, I would take Ginobili over Klay Thompson. Absolutely. 10 times out of 10. Take him every day and twice on Sundays. Give me Ginobili because Ginobili was clutch in the playoffs consistently. Not for 2 game 6s and earned a corny ass nickname. This is a guy consistently great in the playoffs.
I don't even remember the other game 6.
It was against the Raptors where he got hurt. It was that game. OKC, but then every other game 6, what has he done, bro?
Yeah.
Nothing. He's never done anything in any other game 6. And it's like, where's this energy coming from in the first 5 games? You weren't doing nothing, bro. You weren't doing nothing.
You know, there's only one person that I heard overrate him recently is some guy on the radio. He was like saying like, oh, he should leave, get his money or whatever. I'm like, yeah. And then he kept going. He kept saying, I think he's the second player on the Warriors. And I was like, are you serious? There's only one Draymond Green.
Draymond Green is way better.
There's only one Draymond Green. Yeah, like when you said that in the group chat, I stopped arguing and I was like, yup, that he's right on that. How's anybody gonna even defend this? Like,
and the thing is, and Dave tried to defend it too. I would like to have Dave on for a debate episode. Me and Dave got a little heated last night over an Austin Rivers discussion over anything. Because by the way, because I said Austin Rivers on the Knicks, because you remember the Knicks. This is really off topic, but the Knicks got way better after they got rid of Austin Rivers. Correct or not correct? They made the playoffs.
Correct.
They went on a great run. Dave said, well, technically, he was on the team for a couple of games. So he's the reason why they made the playoffs. He's part of the playoff team. His leadership and shit, right? I said, Dave, he was gone. He joined the Nuggets. The Nuggets went from a conference finals team to out in the first round, and the Knicks got better. And he's like, yeah, but he was on the team, so that counts. He was on that playoff Knicks team. He was on the playoff roster. And what I equated to, I know you don't really know. Acuna is one of the best baseball players in the MLB right now. He got hurt in 2021. The Braves won the World Series. He doesn't have a ring.
Damn.
And he's played a lot of the season, and he was about to have a 40-40 season. He doesn't have a ring. So why should Austin Rivers get credit for
that's messed up?
For that.
Hasn't he been on the Braves his whole career?
Yeah, but he's young too.
That's
but
fucked up.
Going back to like How we were saying with the one Draymond thing, because I was talking about disagreements with Dave. Like, there really is just one Draymond all time, right? Klay Thompson, you could find a couple Klay Thompsons today, and that's why I equated Desmond Bain.
Jordan Hawkins.
Stop. Desmond Bain. I think Desmond Bain on that Warriors team, they'll be as successful, maybe a little bit less. If you want to argue it, yeah, Klay Thompson might be a little bit better than Desmond Bain. But besides that, I would be confident as Bob Myers to slot in Desmond Bain in 2016 and enjoy the same amount of success. Because when you lose Draymond Green, who are you replacing him with? I don't think Triple J goes in there and it's the same thing.
Nope.
No,
I don't
absolutely
think
not.
there's any defenders and playmakers that you put in there with that dog mentality that do the same
It's gonna be a
shit.
long time till we
Like
see
he
another
said, he's in
Draymond.
my like I said, he's in my top 10 man. Defenders all
Yeah,
the
and
time.
I would rather have
Top 10.
Draymond Green in that NBA 75 than Klay Thompson. Easily.
I agree.
Easily. I don't think
I
it's a
agree.
discussion because Draymond Green's been so much more. He's meant so much more for that dynasty than Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, he scores. We love scoring, right? And like we said last episode, people love the offense more than the defense. But when that defense goes, let's see what championships you win without that shit.
Yeah, facts.
You don't win shit. But guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today for the debate episode. Big shout out to Mikey Locks coming in. It's at Mikey Locks, right? That's what IG.
At Real Mikey Locks.
Exactly. Go get your picks from him. He don't like giving picks to me for free. I don't think I've gotten a single pick from Mikey. I'm out here losing money on baseball. Help me out. I haven't won.
$5 daily
Yo,
picks.
yo.
Yeah, I haven't won since June, but yeah, shout out to Mikey, bro.
If you really want anything, just bet Scherzer or Senga K's every game. You'll win money, bro.
Yeah, Scherzer's been ass, so I'm not gonna take that
He-
fucking advice.
Yeah, even when he's bad, look at
Strikeouts?
his strikeouts hit. Even when he's bad,
Oh God.
even when Senga's bad too.
Senga's great though.
Nah, Senga's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Senga's a good bet, but also, real quick, always take Freddie Freeman over 1.5 bases. Always do that.
That's
shit.
a
That nigga's
fact.
good for a
That's
double
a
or two
fact.
singles.
And it's plus every game.
It's plus.
It's plus.
Remember that, Justin. But yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. We will see you guys next time. Hopefully, we get another debate episode, maybe with Dave. See you guys next time, y'all.
Peace.
Man, that was fun, man.
Yo, that John Stockton.